For centuries, a terrifying legend has haunted the coastlines and countryside of East Anglia. A massive black dog with glowing red or green eyes stalks the night, bringing omens of death to those unfortunate enough to cross its path. This is the tale of Black Shuck, one of England's most enduring supernatural legends. Join us as we explore the origins, famous sightings, and cultural impact of this spectral hound that has shaped the identity of East Anglia for nearly a millennium. The legend of Black Shuck dates back to at least 1127, deeply embedding itself into East Anglia's cultural fabric. The name itself reveals ancient origins, deriving from the Old English word scucka, meaning demon or spirit, highlighting the legend's roots in Anglo-Saxon culture. This isn't merely a recent ghost story but a phenomenon that has persisted through nearly a millennium of English history. The earliest written records mentioning this ghostly canine appear in Peterborough Abbey's accounts from 1127, where it was documented that an apparition terrified locals during the medieval period. This was a time when superstition and religious interpretation colored how people understood unexplained events, providing fertile ground for legends like Black Shuck to take hold in the collective imagination. Those who claim to have encountered Black Shuck describe a creature that defies conventional explanation. Standing larger than any normal dog, this spectral hound typically appears with shaggy black fur and eyes that burn with supernatural intensity. These eyes are variously reported as fiery red, glowing green, or sometimes yellow, creating an unmistakable and terrifying visage in the darkness. Some accounts describe the beast as headless, while others claim it has a single eye centered on its forehead, like a canine cyclops. The physical descriptions vary throughout the region, reflecting how folklore evolves across geographic boundaries. Witnesses often report that Black Shuck leaves no footprints, even in mud or snow, emphasizing its supernatural nature. Others insist it leaves scorched paw prints in its wake, as though its very presence burns the earth. In certain accounts, the beast is accompanied by the rattling of chains or the smell of brimstone, further suggesting its potentially demonic nature. These varied descriptions have one thing in common: they depict a creature that exists beyond the natural world, a manifestation of the unknown that has haunted East Anglians for generations. Throughout East Anglia, Black Shuck is primarily known as an omen of death. Legend holds that seeing the spectral hound is a warning that someone close to you will soon perish, even if you yourself escape the encounter unharmed. This connection to mortality has cemented Black Shuck's reputation as a harbinger of doom across the region. The spectral hound is said to prefer roaming coastlines, forests, and lonely country roads, particularly during storms or on moonless nights when visibility is poor and the imagination runs wild. These environmental conditions enhance the terror associated with potential encounters, as travelers find themselves vulnerable in settings where their senses might be compromised. The timing of these appearances, often during moments of vulnerability or transition, reinforces the psychological impact of the legend, tapping into primal fears of death and the unknown that transcend historical periods. Despite Black Shuck's grim reputation as a death omen, local interpretations of the legend vary significantly across different East Anglian communities. In a fascinating contradiction, some villagers believe that Black Shuck actually guards them against evil spirits or historical threats like Viking invaders. In these more benevolent interpretations, the spectral hound serves as a guardian of the community, appearing only to warn of impending danger or to protect travelers who might otherwise fall victim to natural hazards or human predators. This duality reflects how folklore often contains layers of meaning that evolve over time. The protective aspect of Black Shuck's legend suggests a complex relationship between East Anglians and this supernatural entity, one that transcends simple fear and incorporates elements of respect and even gratitude. This multifaceted interpretation shows how communities can transform threatening supernatural concepts into protective figures that watch over them, perhaps as a psychological mechanism for dealing with the uncertainties and dangers of life in earlier times. Perhaps the most famous and terrifying Black Shuck encounters occurred on a single day, August 4, 1577, during a violent thunderstorm that swept across Suffolk. At Holy Trinity Church in Blythburgh, the congregation gathered inside claimed they witnessed Black Shuck burst through the church doors with tremendous force. According to eyewitness reports later compiled by historian W.A. Dutt in 1901, the spectral hound ran through the church, killing a man and a boy, and causing the steeple to collapse through mysterious means. The event was so traumatic that it was commemorated with scorch marks on the church door, marks that some locals still point to today as physical evidence of the creature's supernatural visit. Remarkably, similar incidents were reported at St. Mary's Church in Bungay on the very same night, where the spectral hound allegedly mauled and killed several parishioners before disappearing in a flash of lightning. These synchronized events across different locations added credibility to the legend in the minds of 16th-century East Anglians, who interpreted them as divine punishment or demonic intervention. The timing of these incidents during the Reformation period, when religious uncertainty was rampant throughout England, likely contributed to their interpretation as supernatural omens. These church attacks remain the most documented and widely discussed Black Shuck encounters in historical records. From a modern scientific perspective, the persistent tales of Black Shuck might be explained by natural phenomena misunderstood over centuries. The behavior of rabid animals, including unusual aggression and fearlessness around humans, could explain some historical sightings of abnormally bold canines that seem to defy normal animal behavior. Large black dogs were often associated with graveyards and crossroads, and their presence, exaggerated through retelling, likely stems from encounters with actual animals whose behavior was interpreted through a supernatural lens. Environmental factors may also play a significant role in the persistence of Black Shuck sightings across East Anglia. The region is known for its marshlands and foggy conditions, which can dramatically distort vision and create optical illusions, especially at night. Methane gas from decomposing vegetation in marshes can produce lights that might be mistaken for glowing eyes in the darkness. Additionally, the psychological phenomenon of pareidolia, the tendency to perceive familiar patterns such as faces or animals in random stimuli, could explain how natural objects like fallen logs or shadows might be interpreted as a large black dog in low-light conditions. Modern psychology suggests that shared cultural beliefs can powerfully shape perception and memory, potentially explaining how the legend has perpetuated itself through generations. When people expect to see Black Shuck, ordinary encounters with large dogs or shadows might be retrospectively interpreted as supernatural experiences. Beyond mere supernatural encounters, the legend of Black Shuck served important cultural functions within East Anglian communities. These stories became embedded as warnings for wayward travelers and moral instructions within local folklore traditions. Black Shuck effectively served as a cautionary tale encouraging people to avoid dangerous areas after dark or maintain proper ethical conduct. Parents might invoke the spectral hound to ensure children return home before nightfall, while community leaders could use the legend to discourage solitary travel through hazardous areas. Over time, the legend became deeply embedded in local identity, with numerous pubs, landmarks, and businesses named after the spectral hound throughout Norfolk, Suffolk, and Essex. This commercial adoption of Black Shuck demonstrates how thoroughly the legend has been integrated into regional heritage, transforming from a frightening supernatural tale into a marketable aspect of local culture. The legend's persistence speaks to its utility as both a warning system and a shared cultural touchstone that binds communities together through a common mythological heritage. The legend of Black Shuck has cast a long shadow over literature and popular culture, most notably influencing Sir Arthur Conan Doyle's famous Sherlock Holmes novel, The Hound of the Baskervilles. Though Doyle set his story in Dartmoor rather than East Anglia, the parallels between his fictional hound and Black Shuck are unmistakable, suggesting the widespread influence of this regional legend on broader British literature. The spectral hound of the novel shares many characteristics with Black Shuck: its terrifying appearance, glowing eyes, and association with death and family curses. Modern authors continue to draw inspiration from Black Shuck, incorporating the legend into contemporary horror, fantasy, and historical fiction. The spectral hound has appeared in numerous novels, short stories, films, and television programs, ensuring its continued relevance in popular culture. Local museums and tourism boards have also capitalized on the legend, creating exhibits and guided tours that highlight Black Shuck sightings in their historical context. This commercialization of folklore represents how ancient legends can adapt to modern contexts, finding new relevance in tourism and entertainment while preserving cultural heritage. Despite living in an age of science and reason, reports of Black Shuck sightings continue into the modern era. Contemporary accounts often come from motorists traveling alone at night on East Anglia's rural roads, who report glimpsing a large black dog that vanishes when they slow down or stop their vehicles. These modern encounters are typically met with greater skepticism than historical accounts, with rational explanations ranging from misidentified wildlife to hallucinations caused by fatigue. Modern skepticism generally dismisses tales like those surrounding Black Shuck as superstitions born out of medieval ignorance or hallucinations spurred by stress, fatigue, or suggestibility. Psychologists point to the power of expectation in shaping perception. If someone knows the legend of Black Shuck and finds themselves alone on a dark East Anglian road, they may be primed to interpret ambiguous stimuli as the legendary Hound. Nevertheless, these centuries-old stories continue to captivate people worldwide, providing essential insights into how humanity interprets unexplained events across different eras. The persistence of Black Shuck sightings in the modern age suggests that, regardless of their objective reality, such legends fulfill a psychological or cultural need that transcends historical periods. Today, the legend of Black Shuck represents more than just a ghost story. It encapsulates the fears, hopes, and beliefs of countless generations of East Anglians who sought to make sense of their experiences through narrative. Local historical societies and folklore enthusiasts work to document and preserve these tales, recognizing their value as cultural artifacts that connect modern East Anglians to their ancestors. Annual festivals and events in towns like Bungay and Blythburgh commemorate the famous 1577 incidents, keeping the legend alive through reenactments and storytelling sessions. Black Shuck remains an indelible part of East Anglian heritage, whether viewed as a cultural metaphor, psychological phenomenon, or genuine mystery. The spectral hound prowls not just the physical landscape but the artistic imagination, preserving ancient beliefs in a modern world increasingly dominated by scientific explanation. As long as nights remain dark and lonely roads exist in East Anglia, the legend of Black Shuck will likely continue, preserving legends forever etched within historical manuscripts and community recountings beyond mainstream purviews, ultimately shaping geographical legacies that connect past to present through the power of shared storytelling. The legend of Black Shuck stands as a testament to the enduring power of folklore in shaping regional identity. For nearly a millennium, this spectral hound has prowled the collective imagination of East Anglia, evolving from a terrifying death omen to a complex symbol that represents both danger and protection. Through famous encounters like the church attacks of 1577, scientific explanations involving natural phenomena, and cultural impact spanning literature and local traditions, Black Shuck reveals how communities process fear and uncertainty through storytelling. Whether interpreted as a psychological projection, misidentified natural phenomenon, or genuine supernatural entity, the legend continues to resonate because it speaks to fundamental human experiences, our fear of death, our need for meaning in random events, and our connection to the landscapes we inhabit. As modern East Anglians preserve these stories through festivals, tourism, and oral tradition, they maintain a living link to their ancestors who first spoke of a massive black dog with glowing eyes that haunts the misty coastlines and lonely roads of England's eastern shores. The tale of Black Shuck reminds us that legends never truly die, they simply transform, adapting to new generations while preserving the essential truths that made them powerful in the first place. Thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon for updates. Your feedback is appreciated. We hope to see you again.